Hello there. Happy Sunday. I hope you're having a great weekend or day of the week whenever you're watching this. This week, I have an interview with a couple that has a great concierge relocation service. So a couple weeks ago, I got an email from StartAbroad asking if I wanted to be an affiliate for their services. So that would mean any, clients that clicked on my affiliate link, they would be able to track that to me referring them, and then they give me a little percentage to say thanks for bringing us the business. And I don't ever want to do that unless I know the people or a product. And so I asked if they would be interested in doing an interview for my channel. And they're very down-to-earth people with lots of experience and lots of great reviews, and so I feel very comfortable being an affiliate for their business called StartAbroad. We're going to chat with Zach and Anna, and they offer like a concierge relocation service. So where I could have used this, I know that I would have found it helpful to get an immigration attorney referral, because the referral that I got was from the quasi-scammy real estate guy. And as much as I liked my attorney, like personally, but she was going through a little bit of a crisis, and I don't know if she'd really done immigration work before. And then, she would get all agitated if I was asking for a receipt for giving her cash for payments. And the personalized service that, she claimed she had went out the window, and I was left to fend for myself to go to the immigration meeting in the city, and I'd never even been to the city. And then another time she bailed on me and passed me off to some colleague, and then he ended up being 3 hours late and didn't notify me until I was already on the road to get to Panama City. So that is definitely one area that I would have used their services. Another would be shipping, because it took me a lot of time and research, and I was still confused about the process of how to ship my pallets to Panama. And then it's complicated because you have to go through customs when the goods arrive. And so Zach and Anna, handle that. And they handle Panama, Costa Rica, Spain, and Portugal. So those are the 4 countries that they offer their concierge relocation services. I think another service that I probably would have appreciated using them for was help buying a car. I hate buying cars. I just can't stand that whole thing, and especially being female and solo and in another country and not speaking the language and not knowing how things work. And they offer that service to help you purchase a car through their, trusted contacts that they have in these countries. So anyway, enough of my chatter. Let's get to talk to them. Hi, I am so happy to be talking with Zach and Anna, who have a company called StartAbroad. And could you both just introduce yourself to my subscribers? Zach, we'll start with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us today, Patty. My name is Zach. I'm a co-founder of StartAbroad. I'm originally from Florida. Costa Rica, Ann and I now live in Costa Rica, and we have a young daughter there, and it's the 6th country that we've each lived in. And so we're longtime expats. We've moved to a lot of different countries, and now we, with StartAbroad, support people to make the move and to make it go as smoothly and efficiently as possible.
Thank you. And Anna?
Yeah, well, my name is Anna. I'm also the other co-founder of StartAbroad. And I think Zach really covered it all. But in terms of my personal background, I am originally from the Washington, D.C. area in Virginia. Costa Rica is my 6th country that I've lived in after living in Africa and Europe. So all over the place, and really excited to speak with you more about our experiences and what we've seen a lot of our clients experience too.
Yes. I moved to Panama about 6 years ago, and I wish I'd known about the service that you provide for expats because the the details and the legalities and the paperwork and the bureaucracy can be really overwhelming. And as we were talking about before, like if you happen to meet a quasi bad actor, and if that's your first person that you're meeting, it's just kind of like a domino effect that kind of happened to me.
Yeah. Oh, tell us. I want to hear more about it, but just to piggyback off that, that's exactly why we started Abroad. When we used to work, we actually met working for the same company that Anna was a country HR director for in East Africa. So she was responsible for moving people all over the globe. And when you move with the company takes care of a lot of these things. I think Costa Rica was actually our first move where we were moving independently, so nobody was helping us out. And what we saw was there was a lot of good information online, there was a lot of bad or outdated information online, there was a lot of good service providers online, there was a lot of scam artists online. And what we saw over and over again were these horror stories. Like, I get to move to Panama. This should be one of the most exciting moments in my life. And instead, it's like someone said, "Oh, I can help you out with that real estate," and then you give them $5,000 and they disappear. And we just saw that over and over and over again. And we thought that with Anna's professional background and our personal experiences, that we could help people make it a positive experience because we want this to be a positive experience for people.
And it's not just Panama. What are the countries that you help people move to?
Yeah, so in Central America, Costa Rica and Panama, and then in Europe, Portugal and Spain. And we help people with all aspects of the move in all four of those countries.
So, before we get into those details, what have you found to be the personal benefits of living abroad? I mean, you've lived in several different countries and, had these experiences. Like, I think it's a very enriching experience. But for the two of you, what have those benefits been?
Yeah, maybe I'll start, and then I'm sure Zach will have other things to add. I mean, I think about it, there are some very practical benefits, and then there are some, let's say, harder to pin down, but like quite emotional benefits too. So on the practical side, a lot of people save a lot of money, right? Like cost of living, it can make a really big difference, whether that's for rent or your food budget, or like for us, childcare. Wow, really big difference between living in the U.S. and living in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Other practical benefits, like being able to travel, like being able to like see the world. We have so many people moving to Europe who are so excited about spending their retirement traveling all throughout the EU because that's so easy to do and so affordable once you get there. Things like healthcare, right? Like having access to a national healthcare system is pretty great, both for cost and also for quality of care and just ease of access. So that's really wonderful for a lot of folks. And on the emotional side, I mean, I would just say, I think that if you're coming from the US like us, or, from a lot of other countries as well, we help a lot of Canadians, a lot of Brits move. You are often coming from a kind of higher stress environment to a place where you just feel like you can take a breath. A lot of the countries that we help people move to are ones in which the culture is much more relational, where you can like get to know people and they say hello to you when you walk down the street, and things aren't always about efficiency and the rush. So that, I think, makes a big difference for people who are just trying to let go of some of the tension in their lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that was really, that, basically what I was going to say. I think there's a few things that I would add is one, we're raising our daughter in a different culture, and we really value that she's going to be exposed. We're actually visiting family right now, and family come, and where we live is close enough that family can get there easily, but she's exposed to a different culture, and she's going to grow up a native Spanish speaker, and we think that's amazing, and like what a gift to be able to give a kid. And then I also just think that for us personally, you just feel this constant tension if you're in some of our home countries and our clients' home countries, and it feels there's just a lot of tension, and that can really wear on you. And we found that by living abroad, one of the things that we appreciate is you can kind of opt in or opt out and be fully present in a different place that doesn't have that kind of tension. And so that's a much softer thing, right? So obviously we have cost of living, quality of life has improved dramatically considering where we are in our lives. We can afford real estate, we can afford childcare. But really it's just that we feel very safe and don't feel that kind of constant tension.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, Anna, you mentioned, people say hello in the street. Well, in Panama, where I live anyway, or in the smaller towns, when you walk into a store, they greet you, buenos dias, buenas tardes. And so then I started doing it like, this is just natural to me. I just say hello. And then when I go back to the States, I'm like, oh, I don't do that here.
It's so weird. I've been walking around because we're visiting family, and I walk around, I just take my afternoon walks, and I like look at people, and I'm waiting for them to acknowledge me, and they look down, they look at that's part of the tension, right? It's like, people, there's a little bit of like that tension and fear, and we really value the community spirit where we live, and especially for raising our kid and raising a family, and so we really value it.
All right, so that's a perfect segue, talking about tension and fear, because when people are dealing with the logistics of a move, there is a lot of fear. There's so many unknowns. You get opinions online, on Facebook, on YouTube. You don't know who to trust. So talk a little bit about that, what you offer and how that mitigates the fear, the unknowns, the uncertainties. And then we'll get into some stories. I know you probably have some client stories of, we learned the hard way.
We get so many people that come to us after trying to kind of do it themselves. And the bureaucracy and the paperwork and a lot of these things are very different depending on the country. Even Panama and Costa Rica, which are much more similar than Costa Rica to Portugal, are still very different in a lot of ways. And so the specifics depend on the country. But we get so many folks that will come to us after trying to do the digital nomad visa on their own in Costa Rica, and just the bureaucracy and the way that the system is implemented, extremely confusing. Or, sometimes people don't realize that they need an immigration attorney in Panama, and they get all their documents and they go to Panama and they're like, I'm going to save myself $1,000, and then you can't. That's so common, because you'll read on some Facebook group, someone said, well, I did it this way and it was fine. And first of all, maybe they're lying, or maybe implementation is variable in all these countries, right? So you might just get an immigration agent that's like had a nice date with his wife the night before and is like, sure. But most of the time it's not the case. And so I think misinformation really complicates this picture for a lot of folks. And then we're just dealing with heavy bureaucracies, so and one little thing can mess you up. So Portugal, for instance, if you fill out the application form wrong, and it's taking you months to get an appointment, it's going to take them months to review it, and the application form was clearly not written by a native English speaker, so it's very confusing. And you check the wrong box, and maybe they reject you, and that's 6 months of your life and a bunch of money you've spent. And so part of what we're offering is some peace of mind of, we've done this hundreds of times. We stay on top of it, so you don't have to spend 50 hours on a Facebook group, and then maybe get wrong information anyway. And so many people come to us after really spending a lot of time and then coming to the conclusion that it's really hard to get facts straight just from what the internet says.
Yeah. Anna, do you have any stories that come to mind? Yeah, any examples?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I oversee a lot when it comes to our Portugal and Spain processes. Just to give you a sense, the checklist of paperwork that you even have to bring to your visa appointment depends on which location you apply through for both of those countries. And you're assigned a different office depending on where you are resident. So, just because you're an American talking to another American who went through this process does not mean that your list of documents is going to be the same. They're going to be different requirements.
It changes constantly, and they don't tell you.
Yeah, so you have to be on top of just knowing, right, when those changes happen, because they take effect immediately. It's not like there's a warning period.
Wow.
So yeah, Oh, it's just one of those things that when you're dealing with any kind of government bureaucracy, it can be a slog, right? And you don't want to have any additional complications going through that type of a process, right? You want it to be as
Yeah.
efficient as it can be.
Yeah. Just from my own experience with my immigration attorney that I used, um, who, in hindsight, obviously should have made a different decision. But she was going through some personal crisis, and, she kept telling me about this personal service and how great, and she was going to handhold me the whole way. And then she would call and tell me, like, I can't take you to Panama City tomorrow. You have to drive yourself and go to the
Oh,
immigration office. And I took a wrong turn and ended up going out to the road to Cologne, which I don't know if you know that road, but you can't turn around. There's nowhere to like pull a U-ey.
oh no.
So that was very stressful. And I could have avoided all that. It's a big deal. Like when you're new in that process. How long are you seeing processing times in Spain and Portugal, Costa Rica, Panama?
Sure. I'll tell you, I'll do Europe and then I'll hit it over to Zach
Yeah.
for Central America. Um, so for Portugal, processing times also vary depending on where you apply. In Miami right now, it's about 20 days. If you're applying through San Francisco, it's usually at least 3 months. Um, for Spain, it's a little bit more uniform, but still usually it's 2 to 3 months. It depends on the visa type. If you're the digital nomad visa, then it's going to be within 60 days.
And Costa Rica depends on the visa type. So digital nomad visas, we can normally get them within 2 to 3 months. And that one's designed to be really quick and fast and less documentation. Then the temporary residencies are 8 to 14 months, and it's such a black box, and you're kind of just waiting. The good news about Costa Rica is once you've submitted your application, you can legally stay there. Panama, it's actually generally more efficient, but again, it depends on the type of visa, right? So this new investor visa is generally pretty quick, a few months, whereas the friendly nations visa can be 3 to 6 to 8 months, and it just depends. But Panama is normally more efficient. But I do want to add, just in terms of horror stories, it's everyone thinks about the visa often first, but it's not just the visa, right? So like if you're moving to Costa Rica or Panama, you're going to probably want to buy a car, for instance. And there's so many shenanigans with the used car markets in these countries. There's so far more.
Yes.
They roll back the odometers is kind of like a matter of course. There's no car, in the U.S. or Canada or the U.K. You're going to get something like a Carfax car history report. As soon as that car was imported in 2014, there's no accurate car history. And so we've actually had people that came to us after spending $20,000 on a car because they found something on Facebook Marketplace and it immediately broke, and no one would help them. And then they just essentially lost $20,000, and that's a worst case situation, but it's very common. And so obviously things can go wrong with the visas, but things can go wrong in a lot of different areas.
Well, also with where you're going to live.
Yeah.
And that's another area that you offer your services, right? Because neighborhoods vary greatly. There was a Facebook post the other day. Somebody was asking about this, town that not a lot of expats really live in Panama. And, I asked, well, have you been to Panama? Like, are you familiar with these areas? No, I saw a house that looked beautiful.
This is so common, and
Yeah.
this is probably the worst mistake people can make, is buying sight unseen.
Oh,
Or,
yeah.
this happens all the time. You go on a 7-day vacation to some beach in Panama, and you're like, I love it here, I want to buy a house. And then you spend $400,000 if you can afford that on a house. And then you go, and it's hot, and it's crowded, and it's expensive. And, it's living somewhere, it's not going on vacation somewhere. And now
Yeah.
it's really easy to buy and hard to sell in all these countries because there's so much inventory. And
Are
so
you finding that in Portugal as well? Because I've kind of heard that Portugal is actually going through some changes where they don't really want all these foreigners coming into the country, and the real estate market is changing. Are you seeing any of that?
Well, certainly the prices have gone up, both for rentals and to purchase, especially in the cities. So Lisbon and Porto in particular. Um, And I wouldn't say that it's that things have changed, in any particular moment, but it is certainly that things have been getting more expensive in the cities. If
Mm-hmm.
you are outside of the cities or in smaller towns, it's still quite affordable. Um, and look, I mean, Lisbon is still going to be more affordable than any major US city, for
Yeah.
example, but certainly prices are significantly higher than they were like 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
that's what I'd say about real estate.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Just being here in Panama for 6 years, prices have gone up, but overall, it's much more affordable here than it would be for me in the States. Um, so, can you give me the rundown of what are the services? Because it is pretty comprehensive what you can assist people with.
Yeah, absolutely. And it depends a little bit by country. For instance, most of our clients going to Portugal or Spain don't necessarily need to buy a car, for instance. So we
Mm-hmm.
can always point them in the right direction, but it does differ a little bit. But we have different levels of service. So our most comprehensive package is called the Concierge package. In every country, that includes help with finding a long-term rental, and then with the visa process, and then things like you're assigned a relocation specialist, and that's going to be your single point of contact throughout the move. Because what we found was one of the really frustrating things about moving abroad is I'm working with a lawyer, and now I want to find a car, and now I need to get my pets over there, and now I need to figure out what to do about mail. And then you end up having 10 different email threads with 10 different providers, and you're like, I know they said that, but I don't know where to find it. So you're assigned one relocation specialist. That's your main point of contact throughout the move, kind of the general contract of that move. We try to kind of centralize as much of the work as possible. So that's visa, rental, airport pickup, utility setup. If it's one of the countries where we're offering car recommendations on pet relocation. And then there's all the big things that people know they don't know. It's like visa and rental. And then there's all those smaller pieces that people don't know they don't know that they're going to have questions about later, right? So how do I transfer money? Can I get my social security in this country? Should I? What do I do about mail? How do I get my dog over there? And those are all things that we can provide a lot of guidance on as well.
Yeah, that's very helpful because, I was really naive in my move. For example, like I just thought to open a bank account, you just walk into a bank and apply or, just put money in. No. In Panama, like you need to be introduced to the bank
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
have a lot of paperwork. What are some of the specifics in Portugal and Spain that might be, something that you're helping people with that they might not think
Course.
about?
Well, I mean, in each of those countries, there are a number of administrative steps that you need to take to be properly and legally living there. Whether it's before you apply for the visa or afterwards, it depends. So, for example, getting your tax identification number, opening a bank account, we help with both of those there too. And doing things like registering with your local town hall, getting your foreigner ID card. You have to do a driver's license transfer in both of those countries, so helping with that process. There are a lot of these kind of administrative formalities just to make sure that you're kind of set in the country, registering with the tax office, these types of things. In addition to, of course, finding a home, whether that's a rental or to purchase, setting you up with your whole family, so maybe advising you on schools if that's relevant to you, or your pets, bringing them over, as well as the visa and all of the associated parts of the visa process.
Yeah, a lot of paperwork. I would say probably for all the countries, right?
It's always going to be a lot of paperwork, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? More often than not, when I'm like going through that list with people, they say like, oh, okay. Like this is actually, I understand it all now, right? Like it's like just spelled out in black and white. It is a defined list. It has an end point. It's not like too much. Like once we have it very clear in front of us, it's like, great. Tick, 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 tick the box. Like we're done. It's fine.
We take checklists very seriously because
Yeah.
we get so many people that are just like, I'm so overwhelmed I don't know where to start. And just saying it's a finite, discrete process. There's 12 things we need to do.
Yeah.
Here they are. We'll just go one by one. It can really help people manage that feeling of being very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Is that, you have a checklist on your website? Can anybody download those?
Well, we have a client portal, and actually, kind of exciting. We're rolling out a free version of at least one of our country client portals that anyone will be able to use. It will be on our website within the next couple of months, so you could check that out if you want to.
And what the website is?
And the website is startabroad.com. Thank you.
StartAbroad.com. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, we will have access for free to our clients' checklists and portal soon. But for all country access and to get it customized for you,
Yes. Yeah.
and like all of the extras, then of course we save that for our clients.
And we
Yes.
do offer free consultations. So a lot of people say, okay, I understand about how to move to Panama, but how does this apply to me? And so we offer free 15-minute consultations. They can sign up for that on our website as well. And if somebody just wants to speak to an expert and kind of start thinking about it in more concrete terms about how to make the move, I think that's a great next step.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people, they might not need help in all the areas, but enough of them, and they can just, you can put together what they need specifically and help and guide them with that. And, it's like everybody's in such a hurry to do things. It's nice to be able to offer efficiency for that process rather than, I mean, I'm sure you have known people who like started with one attorney, spent money, stopped hearing back from them.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And we hate to see it, but we do have quite a few clients who already have an attorney on, that they have paid to do their visa process, and it's gone nowhere for months and months and months. So they finally say, okay, Start Abroad, will you guys help me?
Yeah.
And we usually, get them the appointment and get them pushed through before the other attorney
Response.
does much at all. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
And those are also just differences with, professionals and credentials in these countries. Because, for example, in Panama, from my understanding, a lot of people can become attorneys. A lot of people can become lawyers. And there's not necessarily, a kind of, not vetting process, but like qualification process. And so you can run into some ill-equipped, unqualified people,
Yeah, and that's certainly the case in real estate too.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of good professionals in all these countries. I think
Yeah.
the real challenge is how do you find them and how do you know that you're finding a good person, right? Because
Yes.
you don't know who you're talking to on Facebook. Anyone can make a website for $10. What you want to do, whether you work with us or somebody else, is you want to find somebody that's worked with expats, that speaks fluent English, that will communicate in the style that you want to be communicated to, so will respond to your emails and pick up your calls, and that has like legitimate reviews. So unfortunately people can buy reviews now, so it can be a little hard, but you should read people's reviews and see, you'll get a feel if they're legitimate and try to talk to some of the people that have worked with them. You got to do due diligence because you're spending a lot of money and you're putting a lot of faith and trust in people in a very stressful time in your life.
Yeah.
And so we're doing your due diligence up front. And what we try to do is we do a lot of this in-house. Anything that we don't do in-house, like taxes or shipping, we have partners that we've vetted. So we have our whole vetting process. And so part of what you're getting if you work with us also is our kind of black book of contact.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is really important because, like you said, you just don't know if you're just trying to find stuff on your own, Are there, out of those countries that you handle, are you seeing any of them more popular with expats relocating?
Yeah, I think they all go through kind of their like ups and downs and trends and things.
Yeah.
Portugal has been quite popular really over the past couple of years. I think what we often talk about is there's like the European interest and then there's the Central American interest. And we do tend to see, different profiles of people going in those two different directions. But
Mm.
oftentimes we have clients who kind of like start thinking Portugal and switch to Spain or vice versa. And the same for Panama and Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Panama is very
Yeah.
popular right now with the
Mhm.
permanent residency via investment. So these countries go through cycles, and a lot of it depends on their governments, right? So for a long
Yeah.
time, Portugal is extremely friendly towards expats, and they're tightening that up a bit. It's still very friendly. They're not limiting the numbers of visas, which we read online sometimes. They're not doing that. It's just
Mm.
some of the benefits that were unique to Portugal, they're tightening up. Same with Costa Rica. Whereas at a time when Panama is really like loosening, like making it more attractive. And so right now Panama is very popular. Portugal continues to be very popular because it is just a wonderful place to live. But Panama's rising in popularity, I think, while maybe Costa Rica is waning a little bit. But they're all very popular. If you want to live in Costa Rica, you want to live in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
If you want to live in Spain, if some people dream of living in a Spanish city, and yeah, the tax bracket might be a little higher than Portugal, but I want to live in a Spanish city. So we get a lot of those clients, and we get a lot of clients who say, I'm in between Portugal and Spain, it's kind of either or, help me weigh my options.
So, and once someone does make the move, you do offer them like support after they've moved. I think I was reading on your website.
Yeah, that's right. So for our concierge package, we're on call for you for the month after you move. So if you have any questions, or even if you just like need some translation assistance, you
Yeah.
can call us up and get in touch with us. We have a dedicated WhatsApp line for our concierge clients if you need help with anything. And of course, even after you move, there are going to be some logistical things that we will continue to help with. I mean, of course, picking you up at the airport and getting you settled into your new place. But then in addition to that, potentially, depending on the country, opening the bank account or, attending a secondary immigration appointment with you or whatever it is to make sure that all of these processes are tied up
And,
before we part ways.
and we said 30 days because often people need the most help within those 30 days.
Yeah.
Candidly, don't tell anyone I told you this. We work so closely with people, and it's like so hands-on. We really become it's a collaboration, right? Like we're not doing the move, they're not doing it on their own. It's a collaboration. And if someone reaches out to us 32 days after their move, we're not going to say, sorry, your 30 days are up. We have some clients reach out like 6 months later saying, hey,
Or a year later.
yeah,
Right.
applications on that. And we do renewals too for visas. And so we get a lot of clients coming back and doing the renewals with us. And so we're always in touch with folks.
We
Yeah.
also
would
host
imagine.
happy hours
In
and get to
Portugal,
meet up with
we're
our
trying to do
clients in
more.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you really?
at least we do.
We're trying to do it more. Yeah.
That's
We're trying to.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really fun. Well, I've really appreciated your time, and I think it's just a great service that you're providing. Something, in hindsight, I wish I'd known about, because I have a lot of those lessons learned, you know. So,
It's a rite of passage, Patty, but
It is.
we're doing our best to make sure that fewer people have those stories.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Patty, thank you so much. I think what we all hope to do is help people with this process because we've really
Mhm.
benefited from it, the process of moving abroad, and I think you've become a really wonderful resource for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so thank you, and thanks so much for having us and allowing us to share a little bit more about our story.
Excellent. And then let me know when the happy hour is going to be in Panama, and
Uh-huh.
I'll make
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
calendar available.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great, perfect.
All right.
And I should mention before you wrap up that Patty, you have a link to access our services, and I'm sure that'll be in a description somewhere.
Yes,
for this
absolutely.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, will do. Thanks
Okay,
again.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Great to talk.
I hope you found the interview helpful. Just wanted to say that I think this is a perfect service for people like me who don't want to do a relocation tour. Actually, I didn't even know they existed. I didn't even know such a thing was around. But I've just never been good with groups like all together. So do your own traveling to get a feel for countries, and then when it comes time for the logistics, I think Start Abroad would be really helpful. If you have kids, they can help with school recommendations, neighborhood recommendations, They arrange, pickup at the airport so that you're not stranded in the new country that you've chosen to live in. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next week.